My name is Rebecca Perry. I'm a staff member with the OneRing.net, the largest online Tolkien community. And it is my pleasure to be moderating today's panel with two really, really great guys. So I hope you also wanted to thank you all for standing out in the snow and the cold today. So also, before I forget, the OneRing.net does have a table here at the Expo in Hall D, 2007. Please come by and say hi. But enough about that. Let's get to why you're all really here today. Would you please all give a very, very warm round of applause for Mr. Billy Boyd. And Mr. Sean Astin. So thanks for being here this morning and coming out in the snow.
It's cold. It's really cold.
It's like in the Great Tales, Mr. Snowman. Yeah.
How are you
enjoying Toronto all winter.
How are you enjoying Calgary?
I really like it. There's a certain energy coming from some people.
There's a few hundred people here, right? What do you think? What's the capacity?
Let's
It's
count
full
them.
house.
Full house. You get 500 of your closest friends out here. What could be better?
Exactly. So I do know that there are also microphones in both of these aisles, so for people to line up and ask questions. And so if, I guess people want to start.
You got to
getting out-
turn these lights down just a little bit so we can see the people. My public. I have to see my public. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
There they are.
Oh, put it back off! Put it off!
Well, no, you notice that they illuminated
No,
just the
sorry,
good-looking
joking.
people. Right there.
Yeah, they're just picking
think.
out the beautiful people.
Yeah.
So how many of you were at last night's Middle-earth event? Yes. Well, one of the questions that you were asked was, what was your worst day of filming on The Lord of the Rings? But I wanted to ask you, what was your best day of filming?
Me, best day. Best day ever. Well, aside from the moment where Eleanor runs up to Sam at the last shot of the last scene of the last film, which is my daughter, Allie, who's 17 now. Yeah. So, no boy Hobbits coming around our house, I'll tell you that much. If any riders come by, I know how to use a sting sword. But no, it would have to be maybe the helicopters. Remember the first time we got to go up in the helicopters to do the like right after Bridge of Khazad-dûm and
That was your favorite days?
It's a pretty great day.
You always seemed very uptight in those days, I thought.
I got a reputation. I earned the reputation of being very nervous and concerned about safety. I loved flying in the helicopters when the pilots were doing their thing. It's when you three lot were jabbering away in their ears in the middle of an evacuation that I was like, guys, shut up. Let the pilots do their thing.
I don't know if anyone's had a photo op with me and Sean yet. But you'll probably notice that Sean likes to organize things. Even photo ops, he's like, you stand there, and, you know, it's my life mission to make Sean Astin President of the United States. I think he'd help to make it a better world, I really do. But, and he's also very good at organizing. And he organizes helicopters in his spare time with no knowledge of how helicopters come in.
Whoa. I have some knowledge.
Well, because you watch MASH.
No, because I've ridden in lots of them. Surely that counts for something. Yeah. No, I promise to use the presidency for good.
No, you're right though. That day, the Khazad-dûm day, was incredible. Where we filmed that was so beautiful, and it was such a special moment. I was talking to someone about that yesterday.
I can't remember the name of the Remarkable Mountains. The aptly named Remarkable Mountains are near Queenstown, but outside of Christchurch is where we flew up to those, and I can't remember the name of those. Somebody I bet knows them.
It was not quite as remarkable, I think they're called.
Slightly less remarkable mountains. Yeah, but it was also the first time, I don't want to say the first time, but it was a moment where the acting, we really got to perform.
Yeah, yeah.
We were, the Hobbits came out and we were all, sobbing because we had just seen Gandalf fall down the Khazad-dûm, and so it was the high of flying in a helicopter to go to work, and then the satisfaction of going there emotionally. So when we saw, the first time I saw it was, the footage of it was at Peter Jackson's house, and we were there with Mark Ordesky, and he had a big screen TV, and they said, oh, let's show you what you did last week. And they put it on there, and they show this kind of slow motion of crying, and the tear comes down, and I was like,
And it was the reality of the moment was what got me. There wasn't like a group of actors. It was like the fellowship, and everyone respected it. The assistant directors, everyone was in that moment for the whole day. It was wonderful, really. Yeah, that all came back to me that day. It was lovely. I'm glad you brought that up.
So principal photography started in October of 1999. And here we are, almost 15 years later. We're still in love with these movies. I mean, look at this full house today.
that's because they like bee cake.
So I was just wondering if each of you could talk a little bit about how it feels to be a part of something that's such a huge part of our culture and that people are still so emotionally invested in.
Good.
Really good.
Fantastic.
No, I said last night at the thing about how Lord of the Rings, I think it's fair to say, by any objective standard, unlocked a floodgate of opportunity for other franchises, sci-fi, fantasy things. So when I see those movies, the posters that have, the collage of 10 people on them in heroic stances, and there's some kind of a dragon or beast or something. I feel like, hey, I was part of something that helped make that possible. So maybe it's a little selfish to think that, but that's one thing. And then, everywhere I go, people, they get this as a new thing that I've started to appreciate more. Say I'm standing outside of an elevator and the door opens and somebody comes through and they look at me and they go, I'm like, yeah. That's awesome, Can you guys all do that once? Like the door opens? I like to organize things.
Imagine the size of the elevator.
That's a big elevator.
Yes. So,
Yeah!
Huh?
so if anybody has any questions for Sean and Billy, if you would all like to start lining up.
Here they come.
This is Canada. They're like, after you. No, after you. Your question. No, after you. You get your question.
Tolkien fans are genuinely very polite, I find.
Unless they're in orc armor.
Yeah. That guy was great last night, huh? It's amazing. Is he in today? No?
He's exhausted.
Julian Jordan? I forgot his name now.
Jason.
Jason.
He said he's never taking that makeup off.
He looked amazing, and he acted like he was in it. It was amazing.
It's all the makeup.
Yeah, it's all makeup.
No, did it turn out with that little, they cut a ventilation thing in the back?
They put on like a dreadlock wig thing.
Oh, so you couldn't see it?
But he had the walk and all that, and he did the voice and everything. Like,
awesome.
Richard said to him, imagine having to do this every day for 4 years. You had to do it once. How would it be? And he goes, I think I could do it.
It's funny, now that it's become this $4 billion theatrical franchise and everything, and so many people love it. I'm glad that I got the part of Sam before everybody else could do it better than me. I mean, people come up to me and explain. I only learned a few months ago that Sam, I guess in the Silmarillion, gets invited with the elves to go to the Grey Havens, that he has that special privilege. I didn't know that. I played the character. You'd think it's something you'd know. I didn't know.
Would you want to start on this side?
Billy knew everything.
Everything.
Hi. I was wondering, when you watched the final movies, which scenes really blew your mind, seeing the finished special effects compared to what it was like to film the scene?
One that really sticks in my head, and I wasn't even in the scene, is when I saw the start of the Two Towers, and Gandalf has that fight with the Balrog as they fall. I was like, this is the greatest start of a movie I have ever seen. I honestly wanted to stand up and say, okay, roll it back and let's watch that again before we go any further. There was just so many moments that you're just like, I've never seen this on screen before. This is, I think Pete Jackson just got the chance of growing up, loving movies, and then someone gave him the money to make the movie he wanted to make. So all these thoughts that he'd had for 30 years, he stuck them all on the screen. So there's so many,
The one that jumps to my mind is the cave troll sequence in the Fellowship, because we all did these, remember it was a Saturday morning, we all turned up wearing sweatpants and a sweatshirt, and it was like 9 in the morning, and Peter comes bounding in, and he's going to describe, because he was, I think one of the great accomplishments Peter Jackson had, which I'm not sure is fully appreciated, is that he directed like 12 other directors. There were people who were in charge of all these different units, and he would explain something to them, and then they would go out and do it, and then he would come back and help them shape it. But he was like this puppet master of all these other extraordinarily talented people. And there was, during the time we were going to film the cave troll sequence, in these buildings, these little almost shed-type buildings on the tarmac of the Wellington airport. So I just remember the sound of these jumbo jets taking off and the walls shaking and thinking, how can you make a movie like this? And he came in and he basically performed all the parts in the cave troll sequence in like 10 minutes. He's like, okay, you're going to do this, and the cave trolls are going to do that, and the Hobbits are going to do this, and everybody's going to do that, and Legolas is going to do this, and everybody. And it was inspiring. You wanted to go and do it. And then after he left, we'd get together with the stunt people, and we worked with the stunt people for hours. They had done all this sword training, but now I had to fight with a frying pan, so that took some time. And then you shoot it, and Peter, he'll see a piece of this or a piece of that, and mostly he'll really watch it when they're editing it. And then we see the cave troll sequence, and just the look of him, the look of that cave troll with his nostrils flaring and the saliva in his mouth, and the level of detail, and the way we kind of work. There's this one thing where I go right between his legs, and he kind of turns and looks at me, and I just couldn't believe that it was like your imagination came to life it almost, you take it for granted. The Balrog, that guy blew me away when he's on the bridge, and any of those creatures, Shelob, forget about Shelob, but the rest of them.
Awesome, thank you.
Got a question over here?
Hey guys, thank you for sharing your art and talent with us. It's much appreciated.
Thank you.
This might be a little personal, but may we see your Fellowship tattoos?
We took a pact
We signed a contract,
in blood.
and then Ian McKellen broke it on British TV, I think.
Does anybody have a phone and they can? I'll tell you something about it in a second. But you can Google the actors' tattoos. Does anybody have that? Raise your hand if you have that. So anyhow, Elijah was talking about the tattoo from a month or two in of the shoot, and I just kept thinking, all right, whatever. And I'm not sure what the level of skepticism was, but as it got towards the end of the 18 months, a kind of fever began to grow about it. And then once Vigo took control, and I think Orly a little bit. There was sort of no turning back, and he had found this tattoo parlor in the heart of Wellington, in this little shop, and he got him to open it on a Saturday morning, and or Sunday morning. And anyhow, we all turn up there, and Ian went first. So Sir Ian McKellen, star of the British stage and Magneto or whatever. So, but anyhow, he's got his arm like this, and he's doing it on his shoulder, and I'm holding his hand. Never mind that he had taken us to every gay bar in Wellington, but that's cool. I was holding his hand and his arm, and the tattoo guy, we're talking about it, and he was an atheist, and he was a counterculture guy, and I remember saying to him, how long has your shop been here? He said, 37 years. I said, that's kind of a long time. You're pretty much a part of the establishment. He went, Zzz, I'm on the fringe. Anybody find it? Anybody Google it? Okay, well, there it is. Bless you. I chose to get mine on my ankle, the outside of my ankle, because that's where he chose to get his. I followed him.
Thinking that the movie was a lot to do with our feet. You know, we were in makeup on our feet a lot, but forgetting we still had filming to do. So then they're gluing these rubber feet onto, you know, tattoo scabs. I didn't.
First thing they do is alcohol swab so that it makes it nice and clean to put the glue on. And I remember the look. Anytime something would go bad, the people, I remember Vigo got hit in the head with a surfboard, and it turned his face into pulp. I mean, it was hamburger. It looked really, really, really bad. I mean, it took a long time for it to get better. And I remember we were doing the cave troll sequence, and he comes in, and when I saw it, I just thought, oh, you're going to get killed, you know? And so he comes in, and Peter Jackson walks up, and he goes, excellent. So you know, and I remember when we came in and we had the you know, oozing pussy stuff on our thing that they were gonna, and they were like,
I suppose they just took into consideration that over that amount of time that things are going to happen. Because I remember when Vigo got hit with that board, we thought we're going to get letters out, no more surfing, no more bungeeing.
Well, you don't remember.
Did we get one?
Tim, you remember Tim?
Yeah.
The producer,
Yeah.
Tim? He handed us all a paper at the very beginning. No bungee jumping, no skydiving, no surfboard,
I
no nothing.
ignored that.
And we all were scared, and we honored that for the first month. And then it became like a to-do list.
A question over here?
I recorded the whole thing on accident.
Wow.
Delete. Okay.
The whole of his life he's recorded by accident. He just deleted it.
In the beginning.
Awesome. Hi. I was wondering if you guys could share an experience of what it was like working with the creatures of Middle-earth and animatronics like Treebeard
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 is
and
great.
Shelob.
Tree Love.
Treelove.
If I ever have a daughter, she's getting called Tree Love. Fantastic name.
Oh, it's perfect.
I'll counsel your tree-loved daughter when she's 15 and has to live with that title with her boys around.
That's great. Tree Love Boyd. It's become a guru. Treebeard was the most uncomfortable thing I've ever sat on. And I've sat on a lot of stuff. Because what they did at first, right, they're like, well, you guys will be up this tree, and it was the biggest prop ever made at the time. And it was huge, you know, and it could move, but not in a totally, like, futuristic way. It was just guys behind us, you know, moving it around and moving the arms. And then they would do stuff like, so it was all lit really brightly, and it was a green screen. But to make it look like he was walking, they had guys from Weta who would just, like, they'd have branches, and they'd walk past us like that. Honestly, that's as high tech as that got. And we're up a tree, like, you know, getting moved back and forward, and it made noises. with all these big guys moving it. But they thought, well, you guys will sit up there. And they gave us bicycle saddles, but with nothing to put our feet on. So we're just on bicycle saddles, like hanging there for hours on end. And after a couple of days, me and Dom were like, something's got to be done. We had to rub ointment on each other's bums every night.
Which they did anyway.
So painful. So end up, they made it more comfortable and gave us things to put our feet on and all that. So we got really close up there in Treebeard. That's when we really found our friendship.
I remember everybody talks about how close we were, you know, how close the Hobbits were and the Fellowship and everything. And I can remember being broken for lunch one time and walking through, and we passed the little stage. I mean, they were like this. Actually, this is fancier than a lot of the places where we filmed. And we walked by, and the two of them were up at the top of the crane with the tree, and we were like, oh, hey, guys. Keep going to lunch. Okay, wait, here, close up on that. No? Here. You see it?
Whoever's operating, are you on that camera? Where it? No, we need to go on that camera.
Did you see it? Which camera?
You need to go on, well, they're not on that camera. Who's at the desk? Is there someone on the desk?
I don't,
That's
did
it,
you
you're
get
on
it?
that
Could you guys
camera
see
now.
it? You couldn't see it. Here, come here, zoom into me.
What camera?
Oh,
Oh,
go.
this one. Sean.
I'm easy to confuse.
Yeah. Right, here we go. No, there we go. What is that? Take it back a bit, Sean, back a bit. No, it's still out of focus. Wait, here it goes. Down a bit. Down a bit. Sean, yes.
There you go.
Yep, that's it.
That's yours. You're the one who broke
That's
the
not
pact.
me.
Yeah, it is.
No ways, that's me.
Okay.
I don't own any white socks.
He borrowed
Sean, that is your foot. I'd know your foot anywhere.
He started wiping the other one's bum. He worked his way through the rest of the Hobbits.
One of the main guys who put the feet on was called Sean Foot. That was his name, wasn't it?
He did me. Yeah.
Yeah.
He worked on my feet.
Sean Foot worked on Sean's feet. They now say that in drama schools to get your mouth working.
Sean, what's Sean feet? I like Sean elocution. I like it. There's more people. We're gonna end up. People are gonna get left. So let's do faster answers.
Let's go fast.
No. Next.
16, go.
First of all, I'd like to thank you guys for coming to Calgary.
Thank you.
Thanks to the Lord of the Rings and Peter Jackson. Everybody knows that New Zealand is the most beautiful country in the world. And I was just wondering if you guys had a favorite location shoot.
Queenstown. We did a lot of stuff. We had two primary base camps. Wellington is where the production company was and where most of the studio filming was done. And then we would go down to Queenstown a few times, and stay there for 6 weeks at a stretch. And that was just the remarkable mountains and just the scenery and the vineyards and
And the bungee jumping.
the bungee jumping.
And jet boats. We did jet boats. And
Paraponting. Remember paraponting?
oh, yeah. That was beautiful. I like being in Wellington because you could go home at night. I quite like that.
I had my wife and daughter with me. Home was wherever we put our head.
Lovely.
Okay. Hi.
Hi.
That's loud. Okay. So you guys obviously spent a lot of time together while you were working on The Lord of the Rings, being a number of years. So I'm just wondering what it was like when it was all over. How did you guys, was it weird going back into your normal lives and sort of leaving that behind? Not that your lives are super normal, all things considered, but you know what I mean.
Well, yeah, there was a lot of sort of false finishes. Like, we'd wrap it, and then Pete would be on the phone saying, can you come back? We need to shoot some other things. And then we'd, you know, even once we finished shooting it, we'd all meet together and do press junkets, and then we'd do the premiere tour. So it sort of didn't end, and it sort of hasn't ended even now. You know what I mean? We're still waiting for it to end. Still here.
We hope it never ends.
So do we. It's lovely to meet you guys. Especially when you're dressed so beautifully. Hello.
What was the most uncomfortable thing you had to do when you were filming?
Looks like Sean's got an answer.
I don't have just one. Well, first of all, being fat was hard. I did the Los Angeles Marathon, and I weighed 164 pounds in the early, you know, the spring of '99, and then I got the part of Sam, but I had to convince Peter that I would get fat, and I spent, you know, a year and a half at almost 200 pounds, and it's just, I mean, bending over to tie your shoe or to work on your Hobbit feet or climbing up the hill, and everyone else was having a great time, and it was painful. That and the backpack, not ergonomically designed. It's a, you know, Hobbit built for a short day out, and then I remember Simon was the prop guy, primarily the prop guy, who would have to cinch it down on my back, and it's just awful, just awful. We both hated the pack and each other by the time it was done. I didn't hate Simon.
And
much.
the other thing was the feet. And the thing about the feet was, anyone who saw the show last night, you've got to sit still to get your prosthetic on. And the feet, you had to stand up. So they had boxes about this high, right? And we'd all stand on these boxes at, you know, 5 a.m., 4:30, and there'd be 4 boxes in a row in a caravan. And we'd stand there falling asleep, you know, sort of holding on to the ceiling. And most days, they didn't shoot the feet, you know.
50. I
So
counted.
Sean ended up like, you know, someone who's been put into prison by mistake, started putting little marks on his mirror. And he marked every time that we put on the feet and didn't get them used. So he had 50 marks along his mirror. It
was a gift day when Peter was like, all right, you don't have to put them on today.
Oh yeah, we'd be like, oh yes.
At lunch, we could go into town and go shopping for records. That's right when Napster started. I mean,
And that was another thing. We'd have shots each sort of goes every morning of whose music we were allowed to put on. And Elijah had more goes than anyone else. And if he, at that moment, was into some Scandinavian heavy rock band, it's 5 a.m. in the morning getting feet on with... And you're like, oh, God.
The best was our makeup bus it's an 18-wheeler kind of bored out, and they put stations in there for makeup, and it's pretty tight. You know, you've got your person putting your wig on and putting your ears and all that. But at the end, there was a sliding door, and when you open the door up, that's where Gandalf did his makeup. So the music would start, you know, Elijah was DJing every morning, and you just see Ian slide the door shut like that.
Over here?
Hi, what was it like working with Elijah Wood?
We just told you.
Did you have any really funny experiences that you could share?
He can sleep anywhere. No joke. You could be in an airplane that's crashing, like we took this DC-3 one time. You could be at the top of a mountain, you could be wherever it was, and he'd just be asleep, and then say, okay, action, and he's ready to go. He had some kind of, I don't know what it was that could allow him to do that, but I fall asleep. I don't know, but Elijah could just, bing, like right out of a band box.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm wondering if, as actors, you adopt character traits into your own personality from the roles you play, and if so, which trait do you think is the most prevalent from Pippin and Sam in your own personality now?
I do pick up stuff, and I know this because I once played a character with Asperger's syndrome, and I gave him some physical twitches, and I had those for years after. I honestly couldn't get rid of it. I couldn't stop myself from doing it, you know? Ended up getting myself So I managed to get rid of that. But so yeah, you do pick up stuff. But with Pippin, I would hope I brought in a sort of more positive outlook on life, you know. I mean, anyone who can go into huge battles the way that Pippin did and still be like, yeah, I'm all right. Let's have a glass of beer, you know. You know, let's have a good time wherever we are. You know, I think we all need to take a bit more of that into our lives, you know. Life is really short. You know, let's have a good time.
I'm really good at eating. Sausages.
I remember you were putting on weight, trying to really quite. And Peter used to give him a hard time as well. We'd go out for dinner and he's like, another pudding for Mr. Astin. And it was a shame.
It was worse than that. Jeremy was my makeup artist. I had different ones, and Jeremy, it was at the beginning, Woodhead, and we went out and played tennis. And somebody took a picture of me, and it was on the front of the Wellington newspaper, the capital newspaper in New Zealand. And I came into work, and Peter had it up like this.
In the scene where Sam gets married, I was wondering how both of you dealt with Vigo giving you a big kiss, Billy.
Sean will probably remember this more than me because I sort of blacked out a little bit. And
No, that's just convenient, because what happened was when we first got to New Zealand, we did this sword training with Bob Anderson, the world-class swordmaster who just passed away. He taught Errol Flynn and Douglas Fairbanks, and he did the Princess Bride sword fight and Ben Kenobi, Darth Vader sword fight. And we went down there and spent 6 weeks with the guy learning how to sword fight. And at the end, right when we were ready to launch production, they said, oh, we're going to have a launch of production party, and we want to do a skit. And so the two of us, and we were very good at it, at the sword fighting. So we did the sword fighting skit, and at the end, we finished with a big kiss. And it was fantastic. Everyone loved it. Well, 18 months later, he's just kissing any old strider that walks through the room. He blacked out because he knew he should feel guilty about the whole thing.
You're the one getting married, you know what I mean?
Married.
Kissing.
I looked at Vigo and I was like, I traded up for Sarah.
Thanks. Thank you.
Hi, I was wondering, in all of your experience with all of the movies, what was one thing you'd want to tell your younger self?
Oh, wow.
I got it.
Somebody said to me very quickly, when I was getting married, a friend of mine who had been married a couple of years before said, the day will go fast. He said, every now and again, stop what you're doing and just take a mental picture. And those mental pictures will stay with you. And now if I had to go back and do Lord of the Rings, I'd have done more of that, because it's all sort of melded into one big, you know, I can remember being in restaurants. I don't know what city they were in. I can remember being in mountains like Sean. I don't know which mountain it was. You know, I'd have taken more of a detailed sort of memory.
You can do the red carpet tour, though.
And maybe I'll do that one time and go, oh, wow, yeah. You know, I would sit and enjoy it just a little bit more.
I want to, there's family audience, so I won't use coarse language, but I would just tell my younger self to chill the hell out. I worried about everything. I was nervous about everything. I was upset about things. I was anxiety. I mean, just relax, dude. It's all gonna be fine.
That's a good thing to take into life there, Sean.
I haven't learned it yet, but if I could go back, I would still tell myself.
We've all got to learn that, I think. Stop or start? Because if I get this wrong, it's complete opposites.
Yeah.
Stop organizing.
One vote for chaos.
Stop Sunday. Mount Sunday. God, I thought you said stop Sundays. I was like, I quite like Sundays.
I wouldn't have let that
Quite
happen.
chilled out.
We're gonna preserve Sundays. A lot of people are coming tomorrow.
So that mountain is called Mount Sunday.
Whatever.
Thank you very much. Thank you to the lady with the Hobbit feet.
Who won the costume prize?
Oh, yeah?
She and her husband won the costume prize in New
Oh,
Zealand.
Treebeard.
Yeah, the Treebeard is
love
incredible.
it.
Did you guys see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Who is your favorite cast member to work with?
John Astin.
Billy. Probably true.
Yep.
Him and Dom had fun.
Hi, I was just wondering what's either the weirdest gift a fan has ever given you or the weirdest thing you've ever been asked to autograph.
Remember, this is a family show.
Yeah. I really like the sort of artwork that people make. Someone made this piece of art yesterday that they asked me to sign for a friend, so it was a friend who made it, and it was just beautiful, you know? And people are doing this as a hobby, and you think, surely there's a way of making this your life. People come in with sketches that you think, that surely these people should be making comic books or doing something. So it's not weird, but I love doing that. That's me done. I'm not saying anything.
You know, my wife and I, it took a year or two to develop an understanding. But you'd be like, I'm not going lower than the navel, the belly button ring. I mean, we have to establish some boundaries with this signature. But I actually decided very early on, and a few times I've fallen short, but whenever anybody in a fan setting gives me a little box that they've made, or incredible drawings, or even little kids who do you know, cards, or you can't imagine the people who write songs and they give you a CD of their song, and I take it all, I accept it gratefully. I bring it home. I always kind of unpack it, and my wife puts it. And at some point in our lives, I figure I'll pull it all out, and it'll probably fill this whole stage of fan art that represents this incredible outpouring of emotion and creative inspiration. So I tried specifically to honor that phenomenon that happened after these movies.
Yep.
All right. I was wondering, if you had a bar, what would you name it?
This is definitely a Scottish guy question.
Well, it'd need to be the Green Dragon, wouldn't it?
I'd just call mine Billy's. Every kind of single malt you can imagine.
That'd be great, and all the drinks were free for me in it whenever I was at town.
You'll never pay for a drink when you're with me, mate.
I love that.
Pay for the hotel room he destroys, but that's different.
I think we have time for about 2 more questions.
Well, you've got that. Let him just speed round it. I mean, you got enough now.
Oh, really? Okay, here we go.
Speed round.
I speak for a lot of us, I think, when I say that our Tolkien geekiness started at a pretty young age. For me, it was like 9. So was there anything that you were particularly geeky or passionate about when you were a kid, or even now?
Adam and the Ants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kissing girls.
There. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you could play any other character in The Lord of the Rings, who would you want to
Strider.
Gollum.
Hi, I'm blanking now. When The Lord of the Rings is so inspiring, and I feel like it's such an inspiring movie, and it's, you know, gets so many people through so many different things. Does it help you guys at all? Do you get motivated by it? Do you still find, you know, good messages that you live by from it, I guess?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think he's written a piece of incredible literature, and luckily we got Pete Jackson who made it into a movie, and I think it's got huge, deep messages, lots of them about friendship, about how to treat the world, about how to live your life. Yeah, there's a lot that you still take from it.
It's a weird phenomenon to be an ambassador of some sort for those ideas and the extension of his literary mission. And I think a lot of times, I wouldn't say I take it for granted, but you get into a rhythm of receiving people's energy and maybe giving some kind of guidance or something. And every now and then it'll just strike me that, oh wait, those things are meant to apply to me in my life. And whether it's catching a piece of it on TV or something a fan says, or I definitely find myself relying on it occasionally. Yeah. Okay, quick, we got to go fast.
Right.
Have you guys seen the new Hobbit movies, and what do you think?
I love them, especially the last one. Blew me away. I saw it sitting next to this guy. Love it.
Yeah, I thought in many ways it was as good as any of the Lord of the Rings movies, the second one, and the stakes are different. It's about greed, really. I think, if I'm getting it right, I think it's about greed with Smaug and trying to decide, what it means to own something, and they put a lot about home in there too. And to me, Lord of the Rings is about really, evil, the nature of good and evil, and war and peace and immortality and other things. So I feel like for me, Lord of the Rings carries a different kind of weight, but we watched it together and I loved it. Yeah.
Last one.
Hi, I was just wondering if there was anything you got to take home from the films, like a prop or a piece of costume or anything, and if so, what is it?
I took a few things.
Almost didn't get through customs.
Right? I had cases. The elevator we're talking about, this size, I filled it. No, I took some feet and I took some ears, which I've lost. Don't know where they are. My last clapperboard, got that. Got my sword. And the main thing I love is I took my scarf. Pippin's scarf.
At the end of the show, as it was finishing up, the first principal photography round was kind of finishing, they would have a moment with the primary cast where they would invite the whole crew and they would present us with stuff. And I barely remember mine because I was crying so hard, but they gave me Sam's backpack and
The gift that keeps on giving.
It's like the crucifix. You carry it, but then it's part of you. And then Sam's sword, which I liked. And then, but the most beautiful thing was Allie, my daughter, who played Eleanor at the end of the third film. They gave us her dress, her little dress, which now even her youngest sister, who's 8, is like 3 times too big for. So if you want to have a good cry, you just pull that out and you smell it and hold it and you're toast. So yeah.
I've just thought of something. Sean's youngest daughter's 8. My son Jack turns 8 today. And in Lord of the Rings, my son marries your daughter. If that happened, wouldn't that be like the weirdest and most magical thing ever?
Well, my first thought was I'll give my blessing, and then the second thought was I have to prove she has a good dowry. So it's Jack's birthday today. Do you have a video camera on your phone?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll do it on this.
Ready? No.
Okay.
A video.
Yeah, this is
on this.
Video.
Oh, it's got video too.
Yeah.
It looks old. It's not
this
a phone.
This is the future.
Okay. It's not.
This is what it looks like.
You ready? Are you recording?
Hold on. Who am I filming? You?
Well, everybody, yeah. Okay, you ready?
I'm rolling.
Okay, his name is Jack. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jack. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you all for being here. Let's give a big hand for Sean Astin and Billy Boyd.